Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
No new fracking.
Joining me now is President Trump's personal attorney and my good friend, Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Mayor, let's talk about the debate very quickly. So many topics to get to, but very quickly, that line jumped out at me. Joe Biden will not ban fracking when we've seen him and Kamala Harris talking about banning fracking for years.
Well, they're making John Kerry look consistent, you know. So he was against fracking, dead set against fracking, unequivocally until he was for it. And we know the minute he gets in office, if God forbid he ever does, he'll be against fracking again because that's what the left wing will tell him. And Joe was always a panderer, and now he doesn't even have the mental capacity to resist. So I read that as goodbye fracking, goodbye fossil fuels, goodbye our economy with the $4 trillion
goodbye Pennsylvania
tax increase.
Goodbye Pennsylvania.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, what a terrible! This could be the worst two candidates I've ever seen from any political party. She was really much worse than I thought last night. And I was a prosecutor, and I've probably tried a lot more cases than her. I know I've won a lot more than her because she had a terrible record. But she's not even a good lawyer. All that smirking and smiling. A judge would throw her out of court if she did that.
Mr. Mayor,
that's amateur night of the bijou.
Let me just pick up on something you said. You said Joe Biden doesn't have the mental capacity to, and then you followed that up. What do you think about the upcoming debate, whether it's going to happen or not? Where do you think Joe Biden is with his mental capacity? What was that all about?
He's either in first stages of dementia or the middle stages, according to two doctors. This is not my opinion. It's the opinion of actually, it's the opinion of 5 doctors, 2 of whom were willing to go on camera, who analyzed, I would say about 40 or 50 of his debates and speeches going back 10 years. The most dramatic thing to do is to take the debate that he had against Paul Ryan and put it up against any speech or debate he does now. The man talks at half the speed. He is much more deliberate. He misspeaks much more often. And then he does something that's a telltale sign of dementia. He forgets what the original subject of the sentence was. So the doctor explained it to me this way. The first thing that goes in dementia or Alzheimer's is short-term memory. And the shortest-term memory is the conversation we're having right now. And you can see it happened during the debate, except nobody pounced on it.
Mr. Mayor, are you still on the debate prep going forward for the next 2 presidential debates?
I have been in all of his, yeah.
And what is the strategy going forward? I mean, there was a marked difference between the first presidential debate, which was very, it was active, it was energetic, it was interrupting each other, going back and forth. The second one, that some would say, is a lot more civil, is what I've read. Which one is better for Team Trump?
I think the best debate now would be one in which the president concentrates. You can't do it solely, but on 2 things. About 20% of the time on his record, and then about 70% of the time on what he plans to do in the future. And then about the rest of the time pointing out what an inadequate candidate Biden is for president, to the point of being unfit to be president of the United States, both because of his mental incapacity and because of the fact that he's a stone-cold crook that's been stealing money for 30 years through his family. And that's you just can't have a man as dishonest as Joe Biden in the White House. The press covers it up, but that $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife, who is very close to Putin, is only the tip of the iceberg. The Chinese Communist Party owns the Biden family. They're in business with Biden's son. They're in business with Biden's brother. They're in business with Biden's sister-in-law. It's not one business. It's multiple businesses. I can count on the documents that I have about 30 million they made from communist China. And of course, he was negotiating with China for us as vice president and never disclosed that his son was a business partner of China,
right,
as well as a business partner of the nephew of Whitey Bulger.
Mr. Mayor,
This guy's just a liar.
One of the other things, one of the other topics I think is circulating that's not getting a lot of attention because they're being overshadowed by these debates is this Brennan memo. The Brennan memo for me is very disturbing. As a prosecutor, what do you know, what do you hear, and what should happen to John Brennan?
You know, Eric, I just have to disagree with you for a bit. I don't think the Brennan memo is being overshadowed by the debates. I think the Brennan memo is being covered up by a corrupt press that doesn't want to be embarrassed and shown to have been totally wrong about Russian collusion. I mean, the Brennan memo is a smoking gun. It explains the whole thing. I mean, I knew there was such a thing that existed. I didn't know it was that clear. I mean, I concluded a long time ago that since there's no evidence of Russian collusion, since I know it didn't happen by being with him for hours and hours and hours during the last campaign, somebody had to make it up. And it had to be a Democrat. Now, I thought it was Brennan who made it up. Turns out it's Hillary. Hillary made up the plot. So she put us through an unnecessary $40 million plus investigation. She ruined a dozen people's lives as a result of that. Who knows what damage she did to the presidency and the things he could have accomplished if he wasn't being illegally pursued. You know, to be pursued for false charges is illegal. It's probably exactly the obstruction of justice they were trying to charge the president, which he never did. I mean, it's amazing. It could be one of the worst crimes in terms of our government that's ever taken place.
So are you?
They make up.
Are you suggesting that there will be a prosecution of Hilary Clinton? And by the way, wasn't President Obama at least made aware of this?
He is certainly a subject. Look, if I was investigating the case neutrally, as a prosecutor, not afraid to have the Washington Post or New York Times call me all kinds of names, which they do, because they know, I know what a big crook their candidate is. If a prosecutor is unafraid of having their career ruined, which is what these crazy left-wingers do, then you go forward with this case. But make no mistake about it, the reason these cases don't go forward, first of all, there's the left-wing hate Trump ideology, which removes all rationality. And then there are the people who are frightened. I mean, people have been thrown out of their jobs because they support Trump. People have lost business because they support Trump. People have been harassed to the point of having to move because they support Trump. So these lawyers in the Justice Department, half of them are Trump derangement syndrome people. They're Washington insiders. The other half are frightened out of their minds that no law firm will hire them.
Yeah.
Now, Mayor, put that aside. We want to talk about justice. Hillary should be in jail now.
So let's issue that. Sorry,
and Biden shouldn't be running for president. He should be on trial.
He should
be on trial for RICO now.
I got 30 seconds. Very quickly. Should Bill Barr, if he's the Attorney General going forward, or maybe a Rudy Giuliani Attorney General going forward, should you or should they prosecute A, Hillary Clinton, B, Brennan and the others, Comey perhaps, and maybe even President Obama? Yes or no?
The answer is they should investigate them with an eye toward determining whether to prosecute them. Some of them, it's clear. Comey, clear as a bell. Hillary, clear as a bell. The minute you see that memo, she's the architect of it. She should have been prosecuted before anyway. She's so corrupt, it's laughable, actually. We look like a ridiculous country that we haven't prosecuted her. Biden has taken so much money from so many different countries, you really have to make it a RICO case. He took money from Iraq. He took money from Russia. He took money from Kazakhstan. He took money from Ukraine. Right. And he took big money from China. China owns him. How can we have a president that's owned by China?
All right,
it's
Mr. Mayor.
Totally ridiculous.
Mr. Mayor, as always, great to have you on. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Always great to talk to you, Eric. You're a great guy.
Thank you, sir.